Praise the Lord, saints and friends. This is Elder Adrian Heyman. What I'm going to talk about intermittently and among other things I will be talking about, I've been dealing with racism and its pernicious effect upon us as people, how it blocks our testimony as people of God, and how it ends up actually becoming an excuse for us to do the most horrific of things to other people and call it within God's purview. But what I want to start doing is get the causes of racism. And be honest, if you think of it in that way, then we can then begin to think about eradicating it realistically. Because some people essentially, if you don't attack the underlying reasons behind racism, then you'll never hope to be able to eradicate it in any stretch of the imagination. I want to start off today with the idea of racism actually being a reaction of fear. Sometimes fear can be a very, very powerful inducement to do the things that you normally wouldn't do. And in this case, it's not necessarily fear of people inherently, but fear of what they're going to do when the tables are turned. And I truly feel that is at the root of many of these actions that we know are unabashed racism, is that because of things that were done by forefathers, done by ancestors, cruel things, horrific things, things that took away the dignity of man, that took away resources. And and the thinking would go like this: if we did this to them, what would happen if they get in power? And such a thought horrifies many people, and they know that they could not explain themselves out of it. They know they couldn't reason themselves out of it. All you can do is be at the mercy of those who you at one time, or your ancestors at one time, had been so cruel as to subject them to the various forms of racism, whether it's eradication, whether it's cruel treatment, whether it's slavery and servitude, whatever it is or was. That if we let them have power, they will do to us what we had done to them. So the push then is to keep them, those people, the ones who have been subjected, to keep them from ever gaining power. So you use whatever means you have at your disposal, whether it's the law, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your influence, whatever it happens to be, you will use those things to postpone the date of decision, the date or the time that will come when you will no more have power. Because if I can take any type of delay, it's worth it. Because we don't want to be put in that position. We don't want to be the ones lynched. We don't want to be the ones who are whipped. We don't want to be the ones who are serving. We don't want to be the ones who are in a position of poverty and of degradation because of our actions before. So that may not have been the motive, let's say in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. But that's increasingly the motive today. If one would be so careful, if one would be so, not careful, but honest with themselves, that why are we hanging on to something that is so blatantly racist, that will give power, authority, strength, resources to us instead of to them, whoever them happens to be. And the reason why that takes place is very simple, because they don't want to be subject to the same things that was done to those who the atrocities were committed against. I want you to really think about this. Sure, there was a lot of trepidation, a lot of fear in South Africa when apartheid was finally ended, especially since the group that had reigned and ruled over the majority was losing their major weapon of influence. When apartheid was gone, many were afraid they were going to be beaten, if not killed, their farms destroyed or ripped away from them, although they had ripped the farms away from those who had tilled the land before them. I don't want what we do to them be done to us. Which, to be honest, is why the transition was actually surprisingly peaceful. Although there were many, I'm sure, among the native population that wanted their pound of flesh and their pint of blood. And such type of thing tends to be said even now in rumors that they're attacking the farms, they're killing the farmers. You see what they are doing? We need to be saved. Or we need more force to be able to keep from being unalived, so to speak. And to be honest, with these many years that have passed since the dissolution of apartheid, and maybe there have been some, I can't say there's been no one that has been adversely affected among those who had power over the majority, but nothing like they thought it was going to be. And most of them kept their farms. They still have most of the land in South Africa. So it's not as though it's been a wholesale giving of the land to the people who it was stolen from in the first place. But this has gone through effort by both sides not to cause violence. But there's still fear there. That's why some of them are trying to immigrate to the United States. Although here they may not find their dream, but they want to escape what they feel is their nightmare. But right here in this country, you have a lot of people right now who are frightened that through all the policies of Jim Crow, through all the policies of separate but equal when they really weren't equal, through all the policies of discrimination and of intimidation that have taken place, that they are afraid that if certain things happen politically, that the hounds of hell, so to speak, will be unleashed upon them, or unloosed as well, unloosed and unleashed upon them. And knowing what was done to those that were discriminated against, we can't be in that position. We can't take it, which I have to understand. I'll be afraid if I was them as well. But at the same time, it is a position that if it's done correctly, should not be an issue. And all it takes is to have the basic idea that everyone should be treated equal. Everyone should be treated with respect. Everyone should be treated as children of God. Which then, when Christ says it, that if any of you think of yourself as great, let that person be your servant. Turn it around. There's a reason why they say civil servants, although people don't think of it that way. But those in government should be serving the people. But think of it, saints of God. There are many people who feel as if there is going to be an uprising, and they're preparing for it. They're storing guns. They're storing whatever they need for food, water, electricity, and so on. People are preparing, and some of them want to start this war. But all they have to do, you don't have to give up everything that you have. Just treat people with respect. Treat people with respect. That would resolve that for a vast majority of those who were downtrodden, those who were repressed, those who were subjected to cruelty. All they're looking for is equality. There always will be some that will try to get back at somebody. But that's the small minority. I truly believe that the majority is not as concerned about getting all this stuff back as they are with being treated fairly from here on out. That they may be able to prosper on their own efforts and their own abilities, and not to be shortchanged because of who they are. We should try that. And that includes a lot of people who say they're Christians. If you say you're a Christian, be like Christ. Prefer your brother or your sister before yourself. And if you're a child of Christ, or if you're a child of God, brethren of Christ, then that means that all of the people who are part of the church that don't speak like you or look like you or even act in their culture like you, they are your brothers and your sisters. Don't treat them like you think they're going to get back at you. Treat them like they deserve to be treated, with respect. God bless you. Love you all in Jesus' name.